Hi everyone, it's Gina, and I jumped in just for a really quick video. I'm going to be showing you a video of some pineapple upside down cupcakes that I made earlier today. But while I was going through that process, I kind of messed up, and it was out of that little bit of a mess that I learned how to recreate. And you'll see what I mean when you watch the video. But this little message came out that I wanted to share with you because it really struck home with me. When I realized the mess that I made or that occurred, when I was making the cupcakes, the pineapple upside down cupcakes, they I flipped them over so that that's what you do with an upside down pineapple upside down cake is you flip it, and then when it's flipped and the container is removed, you have the pineapples on the top, right? Well, when I decided I was going to do some cupcakes instead, and this is something that I've done before. And because I had a meeting that I had to go to earlier tonight, so I wanted to take these there. Well, when I flipped them, guess what? About 75% of the pineapple remained in the cupcake pan. So there I was scraping it all out and putting it on top of each cupcake. But that is when I learned to, and you're going to see it because they actually turned out really well. So I'm not going to dive into the rest of the video too much, but I wanted to tell you this, that sometimes things don't always turn out the way that you expected or the way that you planned. And in the whole process, you can recreate something amazing out of it, which is what I did. And it turns out that these cupcakes were a hit at the event that I went to. You see, I can relate it so much to my life because years ago when I first got diagnosed with lupus, I initially thought, oh gosh, my life is over. My life as I know it is over. About 2 years into my diagnosis, I ended up having to quit my job, a job that I loved a lot. I was an art teacher, a sculpture teacher, and I ended up going down from full-time to part-time, thinking that it would help to alleviate some of the fatigue and stuff that I was experiencing. But about one semester of just part-time, I ended up having to quit altogether. But in that whole process of not being able to work outside, I started doing some research into natural remedies to heal my body. And within the next few years, I ended up becoming a certified herbalist. I became an aromatherapy consultant. I got certified in Reiki, energetic healing, among a host of other things. So without having, if my life had not been turned upside down by my lupus diagnosis, I would not have realized all of these other talents that I had. So I was able to redevelop myself or reevaluate who I thought I was and to recreate me, basically. So this was the message that I got today. It was kind of a reminder. Sometimes things do really have to get all messed up in order to have, your masterpiece come out of it. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into the rest of the video where you will actually see me making the pineapple upside down cupcakes, and you will see what happens and see the masterpiece that came out afterwards. So, hi everyone, it's Gina, and I am in the kitchen today, but I'm not going to be cooking. I'm actually going to be baking, and I'm going to be making some pineapple upside down cupcakes. I usually just do the full cake, but today I'm going to attempt some cupcakes because I'm going to a meeting tonight and that was requested, so I figured it's just easier to do individual cupcakes. So I have this pineapple upside down cake mix. Actually, it's just the mixture in here that you can use to make a pineapple upside down cake, but you can use this mixture to do other types of cakes as well. And then instead of doing the sliced pineapple, I decided to use crushed pineapple for this one since it would be a lot easier to get coverage. And of course, we're going to need 3 eggs. We have some brown sugar that we'll be using for the topping at the bottom of the cupcake pans. And then we'll need some all-purpose flour, which we'll use to make sure that the pan is well oiled and floured so that the cupcakes pop out easily. You'll also need some oil, and you'll need a cup of water, which is why I have this measuring cup right here. And I have a hand mixer, which I'm going to use, but you can use a spoon. You don't have to use the hand mixer. And of course, you're going to need a bowl to mix everything all up in. So just follow me and let's get a baking. And the mini bun cakes are all finished. Baking time was actually 20 minutes for everything to get completely done. But they look really good, so I'm going to go ahead and just let these cool for a few minutes before I attempt to invert them. Okay, so I had a little bit of a mishap with these cupcakes. Apparently I needed to put a little bit more butter at the bottom, but these pans were well oiled and prepared. So what I'm going to do is, or what I've been doing is taking out the pineapple that's stuck at the bottom, and I've been putting them back on top of the cupcakes. And I have another idea. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I have some leftover pineapple, so I am going to cook that down and use that as a drizzle. So let's see how that goes. That's the pineapple and brown sugar, and I added in a teaspoon of vanilla. So I'm going to let that cook down for a little bit, and then I'm going to drizzle this over the cupcakes and the little bun cakes. So here's the pineapple, brown sugar, and some vanilla. I'm going to put it down, and this is almost ready. What I did while I was waiting for that, I went ahead and lined a piece of stoneware that I have with some wax paper or parchment paper, and I'm going to put the cupcakes in here so that when the drizzle runs, and they'll just go onto the paper. Alright, so I have the cupcakes that were covered. This is how I'm going to make beauty out of a disaster, because I really didn't expect them to stick as much as they did. But that's the pineapple that I removed from the pan, and now what I'm going to do is drizzle some of this that I cooked down in the juices, as well as some brown sugar and some vanilla, and I'm going to drizzle it over these. Looking back just a few minutes ago, you would not believe that I considered these to be complete disasters, because all of the pineapple had stuck to the cupcake pans. But with what I just did, just cooking down some pineapple in its juices and adding some brown sugar and some vanilla, created an amazing topping, which I then placed on top of the cupcakes, then added some drizzle, and now I've come up with a whole new creation. So you see that sometimes it takes a disaster for us to come up with new creative ideas. Sometimes it takes things falling apart for things to be put back together. Or what's the saying? Sometimes it seems that things are falling apart, but what they're actually doing is just falling in place. And I think these turned out rather well. So in the future, I think I'm going to be doing this again. Not necessarily deliberately causing the pineapple to stick, but certainly creating another topping to go on top of them, because I absolutely love how these turned out. And let me show you the little bundt cakes as well, because they also, the pineapple, so here are the little bundt cakes. The pineapple did stick in here as well, but I went ahead and added some more topping onto this, and then drizzled some of the liquid, and it turned out beautifully. I'm quite pleased. So thank you for watching this video, and watching my disaster actually becoming a masterpiece, because that's what I think it is now. And just remember, in the future, when things seem to mess up for you, there's always some creative idea or a creative way of solving the issue, or coming up with a creative solution, and it's going to be something that you probably never even thought about.